Now, if you're just joining us, a dramatic and risky recovery effort to bring home the bodies of those killed on Whakaari White Island has failed to find two of the missing. Specialised Defence Force teams scoured the island for 4 hours this morning. They managed to find 6 of the 8 bodies on the island, but 2 are yet to be located. At least 1 is expected to be in the sea, following a sighting earlier in the week and an attempt by police to retrieve them. Conditions made that impossible and they have yet to be located again today. Police say they're unsure of the location of the other person, but searches in the sea and from the sky are now underway as they work to track them down. The 6 bodies which have been located are being flown to Auckland this evening for autopsies. The risks on the island today were real, the Defence Force says. The advice given to them by GNS was that there was a 6% chance in any 3-hour period that the volcano may erupt. Police have released a satellite photo, and if you are watching, it shows where the recovery team came ashore at the jetty before walking in hazmat gear to protect them from the toxic fumes along a path to the east of Whakaari, making their way to the top northeastern side of the crater. At that point, 3 locations are marked with red and white crosses. 1 body was found at the first marker, 2 at the second, and 3 at the marker furthest away. Police Commissioner Mike Bush has been with some of the relatives of the dead this afternoon. I asked him if the families know which 6 of the 8 bodies have been recovered.
Look, that's a very difficult situation for everyone involved. Our way we approach this is we never want to set false expectations to have them later dashed. So we go through a very professional identification process that is signed off by the coroner or the chief coroner. That's the process we'll go through with these 6 loved ones. What's happening from here is probably within the next half hour. We were going to take them by vehicle to Auckland, but we've changed our plan. They will be taken by Defence Force helicopter to Auckland, where the identification process will take place.
So this is really important, so I want to be absolutely clear about it. Are you saying that at the moment none of those families know if it is their relative who has been found?
They have a good idea, but no one can be definite until we say that we have identified a particular person.
Right.
So we're really careful around that. So it's tough on everyone, but again, it's just so critical to get that right.
So I understand you're waiting absolutely for formal identification, but generally you have told the families if their relative is likely to be in this group.
We haven't even gone that far because, again, we don't want to make a mistake. I've just been with the whānau, the family, and the 6 that have passed. And again, it's just so tough for them not to know exactly whether their loved ones are there or whether they're not.
Let me put it another way, Commissioner. The 2 families that are still missing someone, have they been informed that you're still looking for their relatives? Again,
we are not in a position to say and identify those 6 that are missing. That we've found as to exactly who they are. And we've been really open with the families around that.
So you basically have 8 hopeful families. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that for all of those whānau, that we cannot assure them that their loved ones are amongst those 6 until we've finished the process and the coroner has to the satisfaction of the coroner.
So the 2 who remain missing, 1 you believe is in the water. Can you explain why you think that is the case?
Yes. Earlier on this week, a body was seen and there was an attempt between Navy personnel on a Navy vessel and police staff on Police Deodar to recover that body. However, that was unsuccessful due to fairly horrific weather conditions. And we believe, and of course you can't say for sure, but we obviously believe it was one of the people we're looking for.
Have you recovered, do you believe, the 2 bodies of the local guides?
Again, I can't answer that because I can't set false expectations.
As
much as we'd like to give assurance to the family, which is why we're here, we can't to that extent.
As we understand it, obviously the pilots who flew in the immediate aftermath of the eruption were very confident that they knew where all 8 people were. Did something change between them flying in on Monday afternoon and the recovery operation in terms of the locations of those people?
Look, I'm aware of the commentary around that, and again, and I'm sorry I have to keep repeating this, but we're not certain to the satisfaction of the coroner as to who these people are. So it would be just wrong for me to respond to that by being definite.
Okay. The other thing that was said is that they knew one of the local men and that they had identified him and his location on the island. So did the information they provided you prove accurate?
I'm aware of that commentary as well. I actually think it's dangerous to continue with that commentary. And I've been with those family members, a lot of us have in the last hour, and we've said to them we can't give any assurance either way, and we will work to identify those people as quickly as possible. I just think it's dangerous and not respectful to have those conversations at this point.
I understand. So in terms of the people you located, where were they? In proximity to the jetty where the recovery team landed? Were they all together, or can you tell us a little bit about that?
Right, so we're later on this evening we'll be debriefing those courageous staff, those Defence Force staff that went onto the island. What I can and what I have been told is that they were in the general area where they were expected to be.
Based on the information you were provided by the helicopter pilots who went in, or through some other means?
A variety of means.
Can you tell us a little bit about what information you had, where that came from?
I'm not being difficult here. It's just that my brief was that they were in the general location where they were expected to be, and I couldn't be any more specific. And I'm not trying to avoid the question, it's just that I don't want to give any misleading information.
So you mentioned that obviously you are looking at another recovery operation. You are searching, you have a dive team searching in the water around the island. What else will happen?
Well, we're in the throes of planning to revisit the island, but of course a lot went into today's operation, so a lot will go into that, but we are definitely considering with Defence Force going back to that island, as well as continuing between the police dive team and the Navy dive team, considering continuing the sea search.
So when you say considering going back to the island, within what time frame?
As soon as possible. But that planning is being undertaken by those experts as we speak.
So what's that going to be dictated by when you say soon as possible?
The same conditions of today, but you can imagine that...
So you could potentially go tomorrow?
Again, I'm not going to set false expectations. We have to give these people a rest. They are the right people to go onto the island as they proved today, but they are exhausted, as you can imagine. So we have to give them some rest and we have to debrief them. So there is a process to follow, but it'll be under the same considerations and with the same level of expertise that today's operation was conducted under.
Will it be the exact same team of 8?
Quite possibly, but there was a backup team as well, so we'll just see how they're placed.
Could you use the backup team tomorrow or over the weekend?
Quite possibly, but look, when we know, when the decision's been made, we'll communicate it.
So earlier in the week, the police indicated that a criminal investigation was underway and then walked that back. Is there a possibility of a criminal investigation?
Look, right now we're focused on the coronial investigation, and that's all I could say on that. That's our focus right now on behalf of the coroner.
So So part of the recovery operation today was also to collect evidence. Was anything additional found on the island? Any evidence brought back?
I understand not. That is obviously another reason for considering going back to the island.
What are you expecting to find?
No, we don't know, but we'll be first going back to ensure that we haven't missed anybody. And if there is other evidence, whether it's clothing, whether it's digital, whether it's phones and cameras, we'll want to collect those things as well.
You are searching the water, as we mentioned, for one person. Do you have any information about where the other person may be?
No, we don't, but there are some locations that we would like to search.
And where are they?
On the island.
Specifically?
We do have some specific areas, but there was nothing located today. But to reassure ourselves, we want to go back and re-examine.
What conversations have you had with the cruise company, Royal Caribbean?
I did meet some of those people today, but we didn't get into any conversation. There was, as you can imagine, a service being conducted. Ngāti Awa were conducting that with absolute respect to everyone involved, and I would like to commend Ngāti Awa for everything they've done. So it wasn't the time to have those discussions.
Did they give any indication whether they're taking any legal action over what's happened?
We didn't get into that.
And have you discussed with them what warnings they were given about potential risks with their passengers going to the island?
No, we haven't got into that yet either. I'm sure they're all questions for the future.
And have you asked Royal Caribbean for any particular evidence or any items to be handed over?
Absolutely. There will be that's part of the disaster, the victim identification process. So I understand that's underway.
And so what have you asked of Royal Caribbean?
Is that related to your previous question?
Yes.
Yeah. So it will be in terms of collecting any evidence from the missing people so that we can match DNA, etc.
So you're talking about personal items to check against DNA profiles?
Yep, which is very standard in these processes.
When do you think you will be able to say who these people are?
I'd like to say very, very soon, but
so tonight really or over the weekend?
No, it won't be tonight. No, the 6 will be flown tonight to Auckland, and that forensic examination will start either tonight or first thing in the morning.
Do you anticipate that the families will be notified over the weekend?
They will be notified as soon as the coroner has signed off the identification.
Have you spoken to the families directly?
I've personally been with some of the families within the last hour and a half.
And have you got a message for them?
Yeah, as I said to them, that we are everyone in New Zealand is here for them, especially police, emergency services, civil defence, local government, the government. Everyone's here for them, and we just can't imagine the grief that they're going through. Our hearts go out to them.
And this weekend you will have 8 families, not 6, counting down the minutes to find out whether any of these 6 people are their loved ones. Is that correct?
That's right. And the professionals will be hard at work to make that happen as quickly as possible.
And that's the Police Commissioner, Mike Bush.